I introduce our speaker, Mr. Aditya Singh, VP of Product Management, Service Cloud at Salesforce India. Mr. Singh is a seasoned product leader with 17 years of experience in Silicon Valley and India, specializing in commerce, and mobile payments. He currently serves as the Vice President of Product at Salesforce for Service Cloud, with a passion for technology and entrepreneurship. Mr. Aditya Singh, please join us on the dais.
All right, well, this is working, yeah. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining my session. No, I'm the Vice President of Product for Service Cloud at Salesforce. And I want to start off by this session by thanking all of you for attending this session. And I have really two goals, right, from this session, and two takeaways that I hope you can take as you leave the session. The first one is making sure that you understand some of the key insights, right, around how generative AI is transforming CX, as we know it. And then secondly, Salesforce, right, our point of view on how you can successfully implement, these AI strategies, because that's really the biggest challenge, I would say, that most service leaders like yourselves are facing today. So I'd like to start off by just sharing a quote from our CEO, Mark Benioff, that is at the heart of what we believe at Salesforce, which is really innovation, right? If you look at the quote, he says we need to get to the future ahead of our customers and be ready to greet them when they arrive. And so everything that I present today is at the center of making sure that we're making our customers stay ahead of the competition, making sure that we're able to provide solutions, right, that will make you and make your strategies future-proof. So let's talk about customer experience. Now, several of you in the room as service leaders are really multitasking, right? If you think about it, you have to find out, okay, how do I make sure that the right agent is tackling the right customer support call with the right skill set and the right set of tools, right? And that's not the only thing that you're looking to do. You want to provide a memorable customer experience for your end users, but you're also balancing KPIs and metrics, right? You're trying to figure out, okay, how do I provide ROI? How do I reduce cost? These things are not easy. You need all the support that you can possibly get. Now, let's add another layer of complexity, right? If you think about customers and what they want, right, their expectations have changed. They've changed quite drastically. They want personalized experiences. They want them now, right? The urgency has increased as well. So as a service leader, you have a fine balancing act that you have to do. You have to provide high quality service, which is what customers want, and you have to provide it quickly and efficiently, right? You can't choose one or the other, which has been the case in the past. So you need technology really to help you get there, to help you scale and provide this. Now, the good news is, if you look at the last 1 year, I'm sure all of you in this room must have heard of ChatGPT, right? It's really revolutionizing the industry as we know it. And just to give you some metrics, right, about ChatGPT and why it's creating this buzz, over the last the first 2 months of its inception, it reached 100 million users, right? If you compare that to TikTok, it took TikTok 9 months to get there. We haven't seen adoption of any technology that quickly at the scale that we've seen ChatGPT take off. And the prediction is by the end of this fiscal year, it'll reach 1 billion users. It's truly phenomenal. And the good news is you can leverage this new technology, right, ChatGPT, to help provide those personalized experiences, to help meet those customer expectations. And that's why we're here today. But if you think about some of the use cases, right, and how things are transforming, how things are changing, in the previous world, there was inconsistent experiences across different channels, right? If somebody made a phone call to connect with one of your customer support agents, or if somebody sent a WhatsApp message, there was just no context, right, between those two different interactions. ChatGPT, an AI, generative AI specifically, helps you solve for that by summarizing the case history, by giving those summaries to those agents at the tip of their fingers so that they can actually meaningfully engage with the customer. Um, another problem that typically, most of us face as consumers is how do you find, the information that you need on your own, right, through self-service. Again, ChatGPT through, vector search allows you to sift through both structured and unstructured data so that your customers can get access to that information, at their fingertips. And finally, time-consuming processes, right? How do you make sure you streamline operations? Make sure that your employees are not doing repetitive tasks so that they can focus on the more complex use cases. Again, ChatGPT helps you automate a lot of these, very, very, easily, right? So that's why there's so much excitement around this, and that's why we need to educate ourselves around this technology. And what's fantastic is, leaders, right, at the C-level, they're understanding this. They're actually recognizing that you can use generative AI and ChatGPT to improve productivity, to reduce labor costs, and to better serve customers, right? And so that acknowledgement is happening, at the board level, at the C-level, and that's why many of us are here. And what's also fascinating is this cuts across all industries, right? It's not relevant to just a specific industry. 84% of leaders actually believe generative AI will help their organizations better serve their customers. And so now that we understand like why this is important, the next stage is to recognize this is easier said than done. It's actually very difficult and not a simple use case to make sure you can actually tap into generative AI. You can actually leverage AI to provide those best-in-class customer experiences. And why is it so difficult, right? There are multiple different reasons, but I want to communicate three key reasons, three key problems that most enterprises, most corporations come across when they're trying to do this. The first one is getting access to the data, right? Data is very siloed, and we know this. Data lives in different repositories, and we don't have access to those different pockets of data, and the format, right, of that data is also very different. So that's the first problem. The second problem is how do we make sure that the data is being stored securely? One of the questions that keep coming up is, hey, if I use a third-party technology like OpenAI, will they store my data? Will they use my data? Will my data be available to the public? What happens if that data gets compromised? That's number two. And then finally, hallucinations, right? If you've interacted with any of these applications, you know that there is a tendency sometimes, right, that the LLM can hallucinate. But as a brand, if somebody's interacting with your chatbot, how do you make sure that it's staying, using the right voice, using the right tone? Where are those guardrails, right? These are the three, typical problems, that C-level executives face when they think about how to implement AI strategies. There are a couple of, other things, right? On the periphery is, again, cost, right? How do I make sure that I can utilize, AI at scale? And then, the other key thing that comes about typically is how do I make sure that my employees, my workforce is equipped with the skill set necessary to take advantage of this digital transformation, right? Even if the technology is, there, at the end of the processes, need to be there as well. The skill set needs to be there as well. So these are things, top of mind for most service leaders. So really, if you had to, summarize things in a nutshell, I would say, the question, right, that all of us have to ask ourselves is how can you deploy trusted AI across customer and employee experiences, right, both externally and internally? And the good news is there are platforms like Salesforce where we've been at the forefront of innovation. We've been in the CRM space, in the B2B space, for a very long time, that we've been able to build the world's #1 AI CRM for service, right? So we're able to deliver service across multiple different use cases: contact center, messaging, self-service. right, through different channels, WhatsApp, SMS, email, and we've built this middle layer, of services that, basically get leveraged, provide a best-in-class customer experience, for your end users. And then we also have Customer 360. We have all of these different, applications that then leverage and utilize these services across sales, across service, across commerce platforms, messaging and collaboration through Slack. And that's why we're very excited about the opportunity ahead of us. So coming back to how do we take all of this and apply it to AI? At Salesforce, we've been on the AI revolution and on this trajectory since 2014. Right? It started with wave one, which was predictive AI. We launched a product called Einstein that helps automate and bring intelligence to these different applications. Right? That was all about predictive analytics. But now the wave that we're currently in is generative AI, where these LLM models are generating content. And how do you unlock and tap into that content to personalize the customer journey? Wave three, right, moving forward, will be agents and AI bots talking to each other, right, without really any human interaction. And we believe in the long run, wave four will be AI really getting that expertise and behaving like an actual human, right? So you won't be able to distinguish between the two. But as I mentioned, coming back to the key problems, right, that I raised before, is if the data is trapped, if the data is siloed, if the data is not secure, and if you're concerned about hallucination and bias and toxicity, how do you solve those problems, right? And the good news is, Salesforce, we believe that by combining CRM, right, with data across these different repositories, applying AI on top of that, and then making sure that the data is secure and in a trustworthy place, you can deliver a true revolutionizing experience for your end customer, right? And how do we do that? We do that through the Einstein Trust Layer, right? This is a platform we built, the Einstein platform. It's a complex architectural diagram here, so I won't go into each of these different sections, but I do want to talk about how this platform that we've built addresses those three key problems that I mentioned before, right? The first one was, again, how do you combine the data? We have something called Data Cloud, which is at the bottom of the diagram, where we're able to integrate and take data from these different repositories, right, and store them with very little transformation, because we have these connectors and these integrators. How do you make sure that your data doesn't hallucinate, how the model doesn't hallucinate? That's really making sure that you ground that data with CRM data, with information about your customer, information about your business. And again, that's something that we have through the Data Cloud. And then finally, how do you make sure that you power, right, these intelligent experiences? We've been able to build that through providing things like prompt builders, co-pilot actions, right, and model builders as well. You're able to use third-party models as well as Salesforce models, right? If you come back to the trust piece, right, making sure that your data is secure, making sure that that data is not being shared by third-party LLMs, we have something called the Einstein Trust Layer. It's basically a gateway where we mask the data, right, before we send it to any third-party LLM model. Once we get the response back, we're able to unmask that data as well, right? So there's zero data being retained by any of these LLMs, but at the same time, it's grounded in your data, and you're able to deliver that personalized experience for your end user. So just want to again reiterate, this is at the heart, right, of what we believe. It's our number one value within the company, that data is not our product, it's what you own. So how do we make sure that we are able to provide verifiable, accurate results, right? But at the same time, leverage the AI technology that's out there by being, as transparent as possible, right? With you as a customer and with your end users. And what we've launched is something called Service Cloud Einstein, right? Where again we're able to take these different models, right, that are homegrown within Salesforce, that are available, in the market, like OpenAI, Google Gemini. You can bring your own model into the platform. We have something called Prompt Builder that allows you to, generate prompts, right, which are at the, key heart of generative AI. Prompt engineering, as the industry calls it, we're able to take data from your CRM and make sure we personalize those prompts, right? And then that basically gets fed through the Einstein Trust layer, and it helps power all the use cases that you see on the right, right? You can have auto-generated replies that your customer service agents can send in like bulk to your end users via email. You can have summaries that you provide your agents, right? They don't have to do the manual repetitive task of creating case summaries at the end of every case. We do it for them. Generating knowledge articles, right? How do you make sure that if there's a new case, that there's a knowledge article that's generated for that case if it wasn't already there? Or how do you make sure agent gets access to the right article at the right time without them having to search and sift through these different databases? And finally, allowing your field service teams, right, to get access, to this information, on their mobile phone while they're out, doing a service request, right? That's all possible through the Service Cloud Einstein platform. And finally, I'd like to kind of end with just explaining a couple of recent product launches that we did. One was the Einstein Copilot, right, which allows you to have automation and a conversational AI assistant across each of the different applications that we have, whether that's Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, so on and so forth. And then we're building and have recently launched a Copilot Studio as well that allows you, right, to build Copilots, to build custom actions yourself, right? And so these are things that we've launched. They're already providing value to customers in the market, and we'll be improving upon these with every single release. So with that, I'd like to end the presentation. And like I said, hopefully at the end of this presentation, you have a couple of key takeaways. One is making sure that the data that you have is being is accessible, is being stored securely, and that you're actually leveraging the right model for the right use case to help power, right, these personalized fantastic journeys for your end customers. So thank you. Gotcha.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Aditya Singh, for sharing your thoughts on how Gen AI transforms CX. To do the felicitation, I would like to request Mr. Akash Kumar, Vice President of User Experience at Make My Trip, to please join us on the dais.